Hey, man.
What's going on, brother?
Oh, not much.
I don't like when you do the oh. Where you go, oh. It feels like you ever ask somebody how their day's going and they go, and you're like, you could have just said good.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I wasn't looking for an answer.
Yeah, and they go, oh, you know, and you're like, no.
No,
No,
this
I
isn't
want
how
a
this
venti.
works.
Vanilla. It's always the Starbucks barista, dude. Oh, man. I love it.
Anyways, have you ever heard of the dead internet theory?
The dead internet theory.
Yeah.
Okay, let me play this out.
Play it out.
I saw that movie.
What movie?
Dead internet theory.
Yeah.
Robin Williams makes all the kids stand on the desks, rip up the books.
It was the sequel. They ripped up their laptops.
Yeah, it's more. They break their little your MacBook Airs in half, you know, and yeah, it was a more modernized take
On the yep.
Yeah, and they're all like Tumblr boys, you know, because they were all like, I mean, they were poets.
They were slam poetry kids. Yeah,
and
that's pretty accurate, actually.
Now they would be like the weird Tumblr kids and the, you know. Anyway,
yeah, they've got their little.
Hey, trademark on that idea. If someone's listening to this and they're like, oh, I should remake the Dead Poets Society.
Yeah, you can't steal that. We'll sue you.
Yeah, I will sue you. Support us on Patreon so we can win our lawsuits.
That's a new perk on Patreon.
Yeah. Dead internet theory.
Dead internet
is
theory.
that we're all dead. Is this you look like? Is it? Listen, is it like a Lost situation where, not to give away the end of Lost, but they're dead? Sorry if I spoiled that. You didn't miss much. So
yeah, don't finish it.
That we're all dead,
yeah.
and that the internet is our hell, because that's what it feels like. That honestly, that's my theory.
Is that we all died, and hell is the internet,
dude. We're all dead, and the metaverse is like the final Dante's Inferno. The metaverse is the final layer.
This reminds me.
Let's get to the topic. I don't want to spend 15 minutes talking about it. Reminds you of what, though?
I don't want to spend. But anyways, what does it remind you?
Yeah, well, I didn't want to go off on a bunch of tangents and allow myself the time and then not allow you the time.
Yeah, so I need to get some tangent time. If you're going to get some tangent time, I deserve some tangent time.
And you just wasted yours on that. Roll the theme song. You dingus.
With Corella.com.
Pureflix, TBN, K-Love, Lifeway.
I want to be banned from every website. You can go out and
BattleBots. Are we real? Things I learned last night. You just wasted yours on your stupid tangent time joke. So, what is the dead internet theory?
Are you really not going to give me my tangent?
No, you wasted it. I gave it to you, and you went,
"Everyone work it back in. I'll work it back in later."
Tangent time. Have you taken some tangent time today? You wasted your tangent time on that, you dingus.
Oh, man.
Rats.
So the dead internet theory, this is the theory that the internet died a long time ago. And died is probably not the best word for it. It's a little confusing that they say that, but I get the idea. Basically, the idea is that the internet is no longer controlled by humans.
Okay.
Which a lot of...
Well...
So here's the idea. So
yeah, lay it out for me.
Look at our internet episode. Remember that? Take a brain journey back to when we did that.
Can you play the theme song and then put the entire internet episode in the middle here? Things I learned last night. What if that's what we did?
You could go back and watch it, or
wait 13 seconds, and we'll talk to you again in 58 minutes. We just throw in a whole episode. Couldn't decide what to cut. So anyway, think about the internet. Yeah.
Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that episode.
There you go.
Here's the episode you tried to listen to originally. If you fast forwarded, I hope you listened before.
I hope you listened to our AT&T episode.
Because if you
didn't, you're going to need some much needed context for what we're about to talk about. Things I learned last night.
Okay,
so the theory is that AI is running all of it?
Kinda.
Okay.
Look back to our internet episode. We talked about the history of the internet, right?
Yes.
And there was an era in the internet. You might call it the golden age of the web.
The .com boom.
The .com boom. The golden age of the web. When shoesandgumballs.com reigns supreme.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you saw on the internet in that era, somebody hand-coded themselves. It did not exist without a person doing it.
So everything that's on the internet now was coded by hand.
Well, everything in that era, everything in the .com boom era was coded by hand. Someone built it all, put it there.
Okay.
We're in an interesting era where over time, it's
Copy and pasted.
Everybody copied something from someone else.
No one wrote anything. The code is just the code now.
Sorta. So here's the steps I kind of took. So it was, if you wanted a website, you sat down with a blank page and you wrote all your code.
Wrote it out by hand.
You wrote it on a piece of paper
With a
and then you stuck it in your disk drive and you got the internet.
It used to be that you had to write and dip a feather in the ink and write HTML. And if you had bad handwriting, your website...
You better hope your L doesn't look like an I, because then your website's broken.
HTML.
That's how computers used to work. Did you know that?
What?
There was cards you inserted. That's 100% a real thing. They punched holes in them, and it read the holes you punched.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I know how floppy disks worked. Why do you think the CD had a hole in it? Blu-ray?
Okay. It sounds like you're setting up a joke with Blu-ray, or did you just want to say Blu-ray?
Blu-ray?
Blu-ray. Okay.
Got a hole in it.
All right.
There's no real reason for those discs to have holes.
Yes, there is.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, there is. So the internet, somebody made what you're saying is that like a city, you show up, the buildings have been made by somebody. I'm trying to make it applicable. I don't know what's so funny to you.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, and now that's where that analogy falls apart. But now, are the buildings themselves falling over and creating new ones? You don't have to stick with that analogy.
Almost. So people hand-coded their entire website.
Right.
And then after that, there became an era where plugins were born.
Okay.
And so someone would build
a plugin.
Yeah.
They would write the code for a plugin to exist, and then you could put that plugin into your web.
So you would get plugins, and plugins were somebody went and they built this plugin, which is essentially a piece of content for your site that you could manipulate to get to do stuff. Sometimes it was like a tool that did something. So then now you don't have to write all the code. You just plug everything in and then run with it.
Okay.
And that has gone.
That's most of what the internet is. That's what Squarespace is.
Yes.
Squarespace is 100% plugins.
Yes. And it's it's gotten to the point now where, so much of the internet, people aren't sitting down to write it. They were using other tools and plugins to be able to get to that point. Well, as time has gone on, the kind of, big 5 or 7, depending on your lists of the internet. So your Facebook, your Google, your Netflix, your companies like that, they all started writing algorithms.
So name it again. What are your big 5?
Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. Apple is like different.
Pureflix, TBN, K-Love, Lifeway. Those are my big 5. Those are what all my tabs are, you know?
Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, mostly social, but there's a couple, like Google's a search engine, Amazon's a store.
I don't use social media.
You're not going to after this episode.
It's dead to me.
Yeah, it should be. They all wrote algorithms. We've heard algorithms 100 times. Here's 101. If you don't know,
101 algorithms. An animated series for the modern child. You grew up with classics like Dead Poet Society and 101 Dalmatians. But your kid's watching Dead Internet Theory and 101 algorithms.
With Corella.com.
I want to make a jacket out of these CSS layers.
If you don't know, algorithms just dictate what you see on the internet. It's a set of situations.
It's a computer looking at what you engage with or spend time looking at, and then it identifies things related to or that you are more likely to
be interested
give time to.
Yeah. And obviously the reason why they have these is so that way you spend more time on their platform, because most of them are making money off of advertising. So they need you to spend as much time as possible on the platform, so that way they can make as much money as possible, because money is life.
Tangent time.
Whoa. You cut off my tangent time. So if we're going to take some tangent time, I want some tangent time back.
Recognized. The gentleman is recognized. Do you think it's interesting that there are so many industries now that social media is positioning themselves in a way that they are too big to fail? They're already too big to fail right now. But we've talked about often that like our livelihoods depend on so much of the internet existing.
Yeah.
Like still working.
Yeah.
But I think that might have been part of the strategy of Facebook and Twitter is that, and even TikTok, is that YouTube.
Without them, a lot of...
I mean, YouTube goes down. There are how many creators who lose millions of dollars in revenue just from YouTube?
Yep. I mean, that is a huge thing, because it's like, I mean, it's so much of the global economy now is tied to the internet in some way. You get rid of it, and I'm
even thinking more like social media stuff too, is that, you know, they make money on your eyeballs being on social media, but then also there's so many people who use social media. Even if it's not like my primary job is creating content. I can still create content without those social media platforms, but without them, I will not make anywhere near the income.
I mean, that's the same thing. Like so many brands that advertise on those platforms would not make anywhere near as much money if it weren't for social advertising. Because social advertising is unbelievably cheap compared to advertising historically. And so you're able to spend way more, which means you're able to get way more return. So it would not work without social media.
Okay.
So can I get my tangent now?
Sure.
No, we won't do a tangent after tangent. I'll do a tangent later. I'll introduce it later.
Can't do double tangents.
Oh,
and the all-dreaded triple tangent.
So then algorithms, what they did is they started dictating what you see on the internet.
Sure.
And that was kind of the 2010s, where everything you see is an algorithm that's deciding what you're going to see.
Right.
Initially, those algorithms were, some person in a computer lab in some high school sat down and built this algorithm. It wasn't a high school. It was probably Google. But a computer lab in Google was sitting down and he wrote this algorithm that dictates what you see, right? What's interesting is we're in an era now where that's not the case. You don't have an engineer that is writing these algorithms. They're probably involved in the process, and they probably are writing parts of these algorithms. But for the most part, they have an AI that is writing these algorithms.
Right.
And so they have watched thousands and thousands and thousands of interactions of people online.
The AI has, or the person?
Yeah. The person's just like, I have watched so much browsing history.
The AI is taking your, you leave a trail.
Yes.
When you
internet.
When you internet.
When you enter the internet.
You leave a trail.
Yes.
And the AI is taking all of these trails and identifying, basically, if like there's a U.S. map and you've taken a road trip, right? So then it's taking all of us who have taken road trips and they're stacking the maps on top of each other and identifying all the points where these things overlap, our paths overlap. And then they are showing you more of those overlapping points.
Yeah.
That was a really good analogy that I just came up with.
That was very good.
Yeah, thank you. So, and I just felt like I wasn't getting enough credit for it. But the computer is doing that, whereas a person could do that for like 10, 15. The AI is doing that to thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people.
Yes. And even more than that, like they are able to observe more, but then they are able to adjust the algorithm. So they're able to see in all these different interactions with people, when the algorithm gave these sorts of scenarios, it had a certain result. And it says, well, this would be more beneficial if we gave these sets of outcomes in the algorithm. So it's adjusting the algorithm as well.
To give that outcome.
Yeah, as well. And so it's gotten to the point where it really kind of is like...
it's a beast that's out of control.
Yeah, it's like, it's still relatively within control. The way I would describe it is like an animal trainer who has got like a giant animal on a leash, and they're like, we've got it. But it's like, but I mean, do we have it, you know? It's like...
It's like, not trained. It's not in under control as far as like, I can't direct this thing anymore, but I've got it still. It's not.
Yeah, like they can still, they can still kind of control it. But I mean, the leash is pretty long. Like they're letting it kind of do its thing. Every once in a while, they're like,
okay, so what you want is a responsible owner of exotic animals, right? And currently, Silicon Valley is just Joe Exoticing.
Yeah. That's pretty accurate.
The internet algorithms.
That's pretty accurate.
It's like, I mean, are they under control? Sure. Are people's arms getting eaten off? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's actually really accurate. So what's going on here is we're quickly entering into a period where what's being seen by your eyes on the internet is controlled completely by an AI, some robot.
Okay.
That's just one piece of the dead internet theory. So we're quickly entering into this, and that is probably the most confirmed side of this theory is like, yeah, that's true. Each of these next steps going into this theory are where it gets a little less
that says you
true.
liked this dance video, you'll like this one, or you liked this craft video, you'll like
there's not
this
like some 911 dispatch room with people with screens watching everyone's browsing.
But there's not.
So
that's already... dead internet just means there's no person in charge of that. There's no person doing it actively.
Dead internet, to succinctly define, would say the dead internet theory would say that we are dead internet is no longer the internet is no longer a human thing. It's the bots have taken over, essentially.
Okay.
Is the idea. And so the first half of that is that the algorithms are...
It's like in RuneScape. When you show up to cut logs, and all the people cutting logs are in tan shirts, green pants, and they're bald, right? Because that's the default character you get, meaning that's a bot.
Yeah.
And we're just trying to cut logs. We're trying to play a game and have fun, right?
And these guys are just trying to farm logs.
There's farming logs.
Okay. That's a really good analogy, though.
Thank you. Tuesday. That's right. That's when new episodes drop on Patreon. Patreon's a way to get early access to episodes and other content and exclusive merchandise. And we're not going to stop there because we got a private Discord with our hosts and producers in it for less than 17 cents a day. That's right. That's $5 a month. You too can be a Patreon supporter and not hear advertisements in this freaking podcast anymore. Text TILLN to 66866. Otherwise, I'll come to your house. I will find you. I will destroy everything that's good in your life until we're the only thing left. Anyway, here's another advertisement.
So that's the first layer, and that is pretty much like that's what's going on.
That's what's happening.
Yeah. The next layer is
Social
where
Dilemma told us all about it.
Yeah, the next layer is where it starts to get like there's a conflict of opinion.
Okay.
This layer would tell you that. Well, let's roll it back a little bit. We're walking this layer. We need to lay a foundation.
Okay.
Have you heard of bots?
Okay. We're doing an inception. That's fine. That's fine. Bots.
Yeah.
Yeah. A program that can run a certain function.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So the internet,
most of them have gotten pretty good that they can appear to be human as far as like they've got multiple patterns to run.
Yeah, that's
instead of
scary.
running one pattern.
Yeah. So there's two kinds of bots on the internet. There are malicious bots, and then there's benevolent bots. These are your god bots. These are the lords of the internet. Anyways, so there's a couple of them. You got like
Your
index
boss bots.
Your boss bots. So you've got some that are indexing the internet. These are things like Google, and so Google's got all these bots that are, they say, crawling the web. They call them spiders because they're crawling the web. And they're indexing everything. And so that's how they know where everything is on the internet, is they're just going to every page on the internet that they can find and seeing what that page is about and then putting it in a little index folder.
Oh.
Ah!
Yeah, that was our website.
Still got to put that in the index, I guess.
I got to index it.
Well, that's one kind of bot. There's other bots that are performing relatively similar functions. There are good bots, but then there's the malicious ones that are trying to find backdoors in sites, trying to find personal information, trying to like put code into site to download viruses through sites, things like that. And then there's, you kind of mentioned it, there's kind of these impersonator bots that are attempting to be humans. And these are used in a few different ways. One really common way that they're used is, one, it's honestly really tough from a like web analytics point of view to tell whether a bot is a bot or a human. There are specific IPs that we just know from experience that we're like, oh, that's a bot. But there are certain tendencies we can pick out where we'll be like, oh, this is a tendency that's tending towards bot. But there are plenty
tendencies as far as like, oh, it visited this page or what? Yeah,
behaviors. So like it tries to enter a form and it doesn't know what a street is. Like things like that.
Yeah.
But like, and certain routes that it follows, like browsing behaviors. People and bots browse pages very differently. Bots are obviously typically quite a bit faster. And so behaviors you can a lot of times be able to kind of pick up, but it's not always so cut and dry. So a very
when I go to websites, I just look at pages for like 2 seconds and I go 1, 2, click, 1, 2, click. I try to make it look like a bot.
Yeah, and then I go to the CAPTCHA form and I'm like, oh, what's what?
I do that on purpose. I don't want them. I want them to ban my IP.
I want to be banned from every website.
Yeah, I do.
I have no self-control on the internet, so I'm trying to get banned for being a bot.
And you can't get banned from the internet. You have to get banned from every website. And I'm doing it in alphabetical order. Tomorrow is BaskinRobbins.com. I'm only in the B's.
It's taking forever.
Oh my gosh, I can't even tell you. Yesterday was Bass Pro.
So anyways, that's a quick overview of bots. Fiddle the bot off. Here we are now.
Okay.
There was a popular form of bot that came out, which I'm sure you've heard of, being a social media mogul like yourself.
Yeah.
You can go out and
battle bots. Oh, I thought
we talked about them a lot on social.
I thought we were going to say it at the same time, but okay.
You can, on social media, you can buy views and buy followers.
That's what I did.
And that's super easy.
That's what I did for our podcast.
Those kind of bots are pretty hard to tell if it's a bot or not.
Right.
Because all they're doing is viewing some content.
Yes.
Or following a profile. And so
it's pretty easy to tell though.
Well, when you click through the profiles, you can start to pick it up.
Did you ever look at a certain politician's followers on Twitter?
I'm not sure what certain politician you're saying.
Well, you can't go look. I'll say that you can't go look at them now, right? But when you did, this account was getting 50,000 new followers a day.
I would say that's probably not his own doing. I bet someone else was sending them there.
Sure.
Yeah.
But still.
But yeah. And so that's the thing. There was actually this big company. I think they were called like.
I mean, but I'm saying there's so many youth pastors who do this.
Oh yeah,
there are so many.
It's common.
Yeah, well, because I mean, you only need that, and this is where it gets like super unethical, though. Is that your social media following is almost like a social media credit score, and so a lot of people are boosting these numbers. To an insane amount and then getting deals based on, but what matters is your engagement rate, and the bots can't engage with your content the way that people do. Can they? Am I not paying enough? I've never paid for follow. I feel like I gotta clarify. I've never paid. I've never bought any followers or anything like that.
You've never bought bots.
Never bought bots.
There was a big company that just got in a lot of trouble in like 2016 that was selling YouTube views. They made like $1.3 million. I mean, maybe that's under what I think. Anyways, they made a lot of money selling views on YouTube.
Sure.
This is obviously a problem because YouTube views
translates to money.
Translates to ad revenue, and those advertisers spent money for real people to see it. It doesn't matter if a bot saw their ad. It matters if a person saw their ad.
Oh, I thought you were going the other way of that a YouTube creator could game the system where they are paying for views and making more from the ad revenue.
Well, yeah, is
that what happened?
It's a two-sided thing. So yeah, the creator made a lot more money because they had so much more views, but the advertiser didn't get the return on that investment because the people who viewed their ads were not genuine people.
Yeah,
who
bots.
weren't
purchasing whatever they're selling.
So then these advertisers are all upset because they're like, oh, all these people weren't, all this money we spent was worthless.
Right.
And so platforms like YouTube want to try to limit the amount of bots on their platform as much as possible.
Sure.
Facebook has also done this. Facebook got in big trouble, I think it was last year, for inflating views.
Stupid. Yeah. I think I told you about that.
Yeah.
We should do a mini episode about that sometime, by the way.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
And so obviously, like these are problems because you have bots doing stuff like this. Well, they're getting significantly more sophisticated.
Bots are?
These bots that are doing stuff like this. And so there's an account out there that has like 1 point.
Which, I mean, I guess I wish I would have thought of using bots. I was charging people for YouTube views, and I was just watching so many YouTube videos. I was like,
just sitting there watching them.
Dude, I had 20 tabs open. Just click and play on all of them.
These guys are paying me to watch this.
What sucked is that I got sucked into the ads, man. So like the money I was making, I went and spent on the ads.
Yeah. You won't believe how many VPNs I have.
Oh my gosh, man. I bought so much of that Squatch soap stuff.
So the thing is, they've become significantly more sophisticated.
Right.
And so they are now capable of engaging with content as well. And so they'll go and they'll like and they'll comment. And they are getting...
Oh yeah, bots do comment.
They're getting significantly better at commenting where they're more and more going unnoticed. And they're seeming more authentic, right?
Yeah, because they were using too many emojis to begin with.
There was a time where it's like if a bot commented on something, you'd be like, that's not a person. Like you could tell. Mm-hmm. It's getting harder to tell. So much so that a group of researchers...
I got catfished by a bot once. Did I tell you that?
No.
It was just so hard to tell if it was a person or not.
Is there a story to this?
I showed up to the bakery where we were supposed to meet, and you wouldn't believe it. A full robot walks in the door. And I was like, hold on. Did I just get bot-fished?
I hate this so much.
Did I just get bot-fished? Not fished like F-I-S-H. P-H-I. You get it.
Yeah.
Right? It was a tech joke.
I got it.
Yeah. And he was like, well, technically, I am this. And I was like, wow, this is... What are you doing?
So there's this Instagram account.
Okay.
This was, I'm pretty sure, put together by a research facility.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. They've got 3.1 million followers on Instagram. Completely bot ran. The account's called Lil Michaela.
Are all the followers bots?
Maybe.
Because that's not as impressive.
They just faked it. Well, in theory, they aren't.
Okay. So they're saying that the content being posted from the
content
account
being
is posted by bots.
is posted by a bot. So this is a bot account, and this research firm was like, can we make this account viral by being a bot? And so they've just kind of engineered this bot.
Can we engineer a program that would then build a following?
Create an influencer, basically. And it worked.
Wow.
And it's hard. Here, let me see if I can actually just throw this on the screen. I'm going to stop our output.
Hey, your background looks better this time.
Yeah. So this looks like
for real?
an authentic, and all the pictures.
But that's not a real person. These are all made.
These are deep
fake
fakes.
pictures.
Yeah, these are deep fakes.
What?
And so it created, and like it is the content that it's putting in. Like they do not seem like.
Okay, but I can tell the pictures are fake. But even the comments here, though, the top comment, aren't you the girl from Polar Express?
She kind of looks like her.
Wait. Go back to that because I was reading some of these comments here. This is spooky as heck.
Isn't it?
How much time can we spend on this? Because I would love to deep dive into this stuff. But the comments, a whole look, miss you. I hope you get a haul of what you buy. I'll show you what I got today in return to. Click that account. Which we can blur this stuff. Is that a real person?
It might be.
That's a real person engaging with this
bot like it's a normal account. But so they set this up to see, can we get a bot to become an influencer? And they even have it up here, 19-year-old robot living in LA. But all this is fake content. And people are engaging with it like it's a real person. And I think there's a lot of people who I would assume of people don't know. Which is scary.
Way.
And it's crazy.
I'll tell you what, the picture right to the right of where you're at, what's up with the eyes?
That's an Instagram filter.
That's terrifying.
Right? Yeah, that is scary looking though. So it's not perfect, but if you're not, if no one told you this was a bot and you're just scrolling through your feed and you see this pop up.
So is this curly-headed person that's also made up?
Yeah, all of this is fake. And so
what are the images from? Whose body is this on?
I don't know if this is a body. I think this is, like, remember when we looked at deepfakes in that synthetic media episode? Like,
I don't, but we can play the full episode right now. Things I learned last night. This episode is like 4 hours long.
Welcome back.
Welcome back from the synthetic media episode. So this is bonkers, man.
Yeah, so this is all made up.
Because these look real. I mean, like you can see.
I'm sure what they did is they took the
real
bot.
pictures.
It's like Photoshop. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, though. There's got to be a real person to supply the. That's a different boyfriend. She went through a breakup.
Yeah, she did.
Look at that. That's what the face in that one. What the heck? I'm saying, like, when did the breakup happen?
Oh, this one didn't go well.
That one is synthetic media. Who are these digital demon people? What?
It's crazy, man. And
are you the girl from Lemonade Mouth? Is what one of the comments said.
So here's the thing, and so the dead internet theory takes accounts like this. These are known things. There's at least a couple of these like research accounts out there, right?
Bro. Are we real?
Who knows? So what the theory says.
So what's that girl's name?
Lil Michaela.
Lil Michaela and Jake Paul are made up.
Well, what they're saying is that we're now outnumbered by these.
Oh, I don't
bots.
think so.
And so what they're saying is that the majority of the content online is one of two scenarios. Bots like this that are just very convincing fakes of humans. Or they are...
but that bot had a check mark.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
And that's Instagram's doing for... That's wrong. I don't believe... That's crazy. I had to show a photo ID to get my check mark.
I mean, a robot can get an ID, right?
I was just thinking though, like I just had to upload a picture. I could have photoshopped my ID. How are they going to confirm that?
That's probably what the bot did. The bot probably just photoshopped an ID.
The bot was just like, here you go.
I was like, oh
"Can you
yeah,
fill out this
forgery.
CAPTCHA form?
The bot was like, yeah, send me to prison. Good luck.
Lock me away.
Give it a try.
Yeah.
So the
Do you
theory.
think there'll be jail in the metaverse? Sorry, that's a tangent.
Oh, hey, perfect. Good opportunity for me to take my tangent that I've been wanting to take.
What's your tangent?
So there's one of my former students. I'm not going to say his name. He listens to this podcast, though. He'll remember this.
Ryan Sparks.
No, that's not him. Different one.
Can we leave it in though? That's funny.
Yeah, we can. He texted me the other day. He was saying he got an Oculus and he was loving it.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, that's tight. Super fun.
He's like, I just met this girl, Michaela.
He's like, bro, the metaverse is dope. And I was like, no, it's not. And his response,
text messages?
his response,
No, it's not.
His response was the best thing I've ever heard. He said, in real life, I have mice in my apartment. In the metaverse, I have a robot.
I mean,
and then he said, and I can
and
also
a hot girlfriend.
He said, I can also sit courtside in an NBA game. And I said, you could do those in real life if you get a job.
You could own a robot and be courtside if you just. Maybe you should get a job as a rat killer. Get rid of the mice in your apartment.
Yep.
Work your way up.
Yeah, work your way up the corporate ladder, the corporate rat ladder, the rat race, and then sit courtside. So the theory is that
there's
there's
bots.
a lot of accounts like this.
So and this is
but the
all.
other side,
So dead internet theory includes the fact that the algorithm is pumping stuff in front of us, and then it's also say that the stuff it's pumping in front of us is mostly made by not real people.
yes. And
see, that's where it's kind of losing me a little bit.
There's decent data for this. So Twitter did a study in 2019 on two things. One, bots on the platform. Two, user engagement on the platform. So they found two really interesting statistics. One, they found that 10% of the audience, or 10% of the users on Twitter, I think it was 150 million at the time, 10% were the voice of Twitter. So 10% accounted all for the vast majority. It was like 98% of the tweets on Twitter.
You and me.
Yeah, we are Twitter. But the other 90%, they follow, they just listen. They're not the talkers. So they call them talkers and listeners. And so 10% of all the content.
That's also what I call them.
10% of all the content on Twitter came from
The talkers.
the same group. Well, they also found that 4% of all profiles on Twitter were bots. And so not all of those bots were probably talkers, but you have reason to believe that if 10% of the voice comes from, or if 10% of all the content comes from that same group, there's a reasonable amount to believe that a decent bit of that 4% that are bots are within that group. And so there's a decent bit of the content in Twitter that's coming from computer-generated content. Yeah.
Okay. Well, because I mean, I get emails all the time for like an AI can write your blog posts for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, we get emails all the time for ads that are written by AI, like bots trying to get us to do ads for them.
Really?
Yeah, all the time. You've seen those. Where
Oh,
it's like,
yeah. But I'm saying like those are like
clearly scams.
no. But they're not selling us on like a script that's been written by an AI, are they?
No, yeah, the script was written by the AI to send us an email to get us to give our information so they could, steal stuff from us.
Is that what they're trying to do?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a scam. They're phishing. Anyways, so the
I don't know. I've been bot fished. I don't know.
so the theory is that
The theory is that a lot of the content, not all, obviously, because you and I are still posting stuff and we see each other's tweets.
Mm-hmm.
But the theory is that a lot of content online is being created by computers.
Yes.
And it's also being pushed by computers.
Yes.
And that eventually your complete internet experience will just be computers.
Yeah. What's interesting about it too is it's even bigger than that too, because like people who buy on views and engagement, there are brands who will do that to fluff their engagement to go viral on things.
Yes.
And so advertisers will do that to go viral. And so now you've got these groups that will say, okay, hey, we're sending a bot to make this go viral. A bot wrote an algorithm that made that to where they could get it to the point where it goes viral. And theoretically, that thing that went viral was made by a bot. And so you're in a system where it's like the algorithm was done by a bot, the algorithm was gamed by a bot, and the content was created by a bot. And so what they're saying is the internet has been shrinking. It really, and this is verifiably true. It's like the great, it's like a nation where everybody in the nation lived all over the place, and then the cities popped up and everybody moved back in the cities. There was all sorts of places on the web, and now it's just kind of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. There's all these other places, but really that's where everything online is happening.
Right.
And so everything's coming in.
Even all the other places that exist point back to those places.
Yeah, at some point,
And
you're going to end
Parler.
up back there. So the idea is that we are now a serious minority in terms of who is having the voice online. We are consuming stuff that's created by bots. Mm-hmm. And what's scary about that is things like with the Russian voter scandal.
Right.
Anybody can create these bots, and they can send millions of them into a platform.
Yes.
And set them up to
Flood.
do and say whatever.
Right.
And
Is that the things they're creating could be very dangerous ideas.
yes. Mm-hmm. And even beyond that, like what's scariest about it is a lot of these are AI driven, so they're machine learning, so they are set up to honestly a lot like our endorphin system in our brain is set up, where the more they see that success rate, they're just going to keep going after it, but they're way faster than us.
Yeah.
And so they're able to pump out so much more of this content when they start seeing success in that way, that it almost gets to the point to where the creators of these bots really do lose control of that leash, and it just runs wild. So dead internet theory is that we've passed that point. YouTube coined the phrase the Great Inversion, which sounds terrifying. And so that's the point where it flips, and we flip from being the internet controlled by humans to the internet controlled by bots. And depending on
controlled by the internet.
Yeah, depending on who you talk to, that number is different. Some people will
And they don't
say,
think we're there yet.
well, it's close.
Some people think we're there.
It's really close. Like the numbers are tough to say are accurate. Like it's really tough to find an accurate number, but it's anywhere from 20% of traffic on the internet is bots to I've seen numbers all the way up to 60%. And so if we're at 60%, the Great Inversion happened and the bots are in control. It's really, really tough to say where we are. But if you look at a lot of those chief websites that are at the top, they'll have numbers of their estimates that are probably relatively close to the amount of bots that they have on their platform. And it does seem like we are really, really close to that line of 50-50. Whether we're past it or not is hard to find. But Twitter or YouTube cracked down in 2014.
Right.
And it was a huge deal because that meant a lot of creators found out, oh, I have 20,000 less subscribers than I thought. And for some creators, that was a huge impact to their channel and in their revenue then. And so that was a huge, almost scandal. But it's like it needed to happen because that meant that a lot of the content or a lot of what the advertisers were spending their money on was worthless.
Right.
And so
Facebook was doing it, but Facebook wasn't even using bots to get those views. They were literally just changing the numbers.
Mm-hmm. That was a little more like malicious.
Back in,
yeah, like someone was doing that. Have you heard of TILLN podcast merch? That's right. We have a merch store full of TILLN brand tees, hoodies, mugs, and so much more. We also make new designs for every single episode, but those are only available for a limited time, so get them while they're hot. Text TILLN to 66866 to get your TILLN merch today. But it's a scary scenario because we have a situation where anybody who has a little bit of technical know-how can really influence public opinion pretty easily.
Yeah.
And we saw that with Russia. There are these farms in China that are getting shut down, like full warehouses. It's kind of ominous to look at it, where they will literally have walls, like rooms as tall as this one, where walls, floor to ceiling, they've got phones. And the phones are hooked to a server, and the server's running that phone. And so you can see it browsing the internet and engaging with content and putting stuff on, like liking posts and commenting on posts and stuff like that. And it's terrifying to watch, like just all these screens moving around super quick on this wall, and they're all like all these chargers plugged in and moved all over the place. China's cracking down really hard on those right now. But I mean, the
Why?
Chinese government probably has them too. Well, because a lot of these, what they're doing is they're doing like almost like smear campaigns against the Chinese government.
That's what I was going to say. They're cracking down on.
Yeah, so they're almost certainly the Chinese government has their own set of those.
For sure.
And I mean, it's pretty likely.
Why do you think they didn't put the windows on those AT&T buildings?
That's what I'm saying. I think it's pretty likely that just about every like first world country has some portion of their government that's doing some level of this. And it's scary because it's like you almost can't find something on the internet that's reliable anymore. It's set up to steer you towards some sort of opinion.
Yeah.
And there's someone or something like a bot behind it, which is scary. And so that's the idea here in the dead internet theory, is that we've lost control of the internet and it's completely run over by we've hit the Great Inversion.
So if you've listened to this episode, our bot worked. It got you here.
Welcome. We're bots. We're deep fakes.
All of this. Do a weird, like, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes
sound.
it glitches.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of, it's a little scary because it is a situation where it's like, I mean, how do you fix that? I mean, we've kind of opened up Pandora's box with the algorithms and the AI, and it's
the internet.
Can we get control of it? I don't know. I don't know if there's any solution other than just killing it.
Well, but that's the thing, is that once it does cross over that threshold where it is mostly bots creating content, engaging with content, there's no reason for ad spenders to put money there anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think we'll just see new circles pop up where ad money does get in front of real people.
Well, the interesting thing is,
because at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
The big groups, those big websites, well, I'll tell you, we're nowhere near that threshold.
Yeah. But that's because they have their own bots running.
Yeah, the thing is that legitimate? It's hard to say because their revenue is tied to that ad
Here's
revenue.
the solution.
So they'll lie.
Make friends in real life.
Yeah.
Only trust people you see with your real eyes. All right?
Let me touch your eyes.
Let me
feel your eyes. I'll know you're real if I feel your eyes.
Okay, doubting Thomas. Only make friends in real life. And unplug your phone at night. Turn it off. They can hear you. Lock your front door.
With a real lock, not with a computer lock.
Not a computer lock. Do the thing where you, for your sliding back door, do the thing where you have the broomstick in the way.
Yeah, do that.
Obviously.
The robots are going to get in.
Have a emergency fund of $1,000. Pay off your smallest debts first. We're going to the baby steps.
Yeah.
Practice the debt snowball.
Yep.
Got your big one. Reward progress.
Build a bunker.
And, well, dig a hole. Find a wall. Call the news.
Find a giant.
Do all that stuff first. And then build a bunker.
Build a bunker.
Get in that bunker.
Yeah. survive the apocalypse.
Yeah. But if you connect internet to your bunker, start all over.
Yeah.
If you're
Game
listening
over.
to this in your bunker right now, what are you doing?
Yeah, you broke the system. Unless you downloaded this.
You got
before.
a broken bunker.
You broke your bunker. So yeah. So I mean, the internet's a scary place now.
Oh, that's my bot bunker. Yeah. That's my bot bunker. Yeah, just afraid of bots.
Yeah, so I
Do
throw
you
the bots
see
in the
any
bunker.
bots in this room right now?
I see bots.
I see dead internet.
Yeah. So I mean,
That is
it's
terrifying.
relatively scary scenario. Anything and everything you see on the internet, I mean, legitimately could not be real.
That influencer was scary.
Yeah, that's very scary.
I'm
And
a little follower, though.
they're only getting better. Like they're only getting better at this. And so the more time that goes on, I mean, the more you're going to see stuff like this.
Man, I've wanted to start a conspiracy where I was a fake person for like a long time. Either that or I died. But then the Avril Lavigne thing happened later. But like, I should have done this. I thought about it in my first
I
special.
should have faked died.
In my first special back in like 2014.
Yeah.
You can't find it anywhere.
I can't.
Don't. But I thought about after, like, you know, being like, thank you so much, I'm Jerry Myers. And then, like, while everyone's clapping, not in the microphone, just like mouthing the words, like, I died 4 years ago. And then, like, just doing that in every special. So that in like 15 years, I just show clips of me being like, I died 4 years ago. And like, I died 10 years ago. Like, me, like, trying to cry for help, like,
I'm dead.
you know, I thought that would be funny.
That is really funny.
Yeah, I didn't do it though, so
You can start.
Yeah, I guess I can go back and alter the footage with AI. If you see it, it's altered footage, but it's bad. It's like bad altered footage, like, you know, where you put that little square mouth. I died in 2004. What? Anyway, are we done?
Yeah, we can.
That was my robot messing up. Fiddle Off.
Did he? Oh, Fiddle Off. Okay, great. Hey, thanks for watching Things I Learned Last Night. If you like this episode, you can watch more right here, or you can watch some highlights. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It helps us out a lot. Also, leave a comment below, and we'll see you next week.